Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com, this is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Well, I guess you got me twice.
I do have you twice. Lowell's having some tech issues.
Oh boy,
we've only got your audio signal once, but can you hear me, Lowell?
I'm getting an echo here, John.
Well, we're not hearing it, so if you can cope with it for the next little while, you're good to go, sir.
Okay, all right. I'm asking. I'm sorry. I really can't do this, John. I just keep it's an echo. We have no idea what the problem is there.
No, because you were fine leading up to the show coming on. I don't understand what has happened on your end. Google Chrome gave him an error message, and all of a sudden,
I can't. Sorry. Let me try and see if I can do it again here.
All right, so we're going to remove him from the stream, and I'll do a little dance, I guess, for you. And we're going to kick that from the studio. Hang on a second here, and I'm going to. There we go. So Lowell's going to log back on. My apologies. Yesterday, we've uploaded the podcast. I know a lot of people are having issues with it. It is an issue with our podcast host, getting it to Apple, getting it to Google. I know the Apple stream has been resolved. The Google stream still not working, but I've replaced the podcast on Lowell Green's page at blasttheradio.com. So if you go to that, you can get yesterday's show. So we'll wait Mr. Green to join us on the stream. Always something last minute. Always, of course, we're 45 minutes away from each other, so it's not like I can run over to his house and get him on.
Let's see if that's better. Okay, now I think we're all right, John.
You can see me? You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Let's do
Our
this.
apologies. I have no idea what went wrong, but we got her straightened out. And I'd like to know who will join me this day to demand that Trudeau and his ragtag government buck up their courage, do the right thing for a change, and kick every bloody bastard Russian officials out of our country. Now, I've been unable to determine exactly how many bastard Russian officials are in this country. Suffice to say, far too many. A lot more than you may have suspected. Let me just go through a little bit what I have been able to learn. Here in Ottawa, we have the Russian ambassador, Oleg Stepanov, and a gang of spies, otherwise known as consulate officials. How many? I have no idea. And we will never know. Probably quite a few. I say kick them out tomorrow and boot their collective asses. As a matter of fact, I will willingly provide a frozen boot for the job, if that will help. And while we're at it, let's kick out the Russian consul generals in Montreal and Vancouver and their staff, along with honorary consuls and their staff in Edmonton, St. John's, Windsor, and Vancouver. And let's not stop with the booting out until the Russian Trade Commission and their bloody spies holed up here in Ottawa are turfed out of the country as well, along with the so-called staff of the Russian Federal Fisheries Agency enjoying life in Halifax. So as I say, there's a passel of these buggers. Let's boot them all out. Anybody agree with me on that? Had it? You know, there's a lot of these bastards. None of them should be in this country. I say, boot them out, unceremoniously. Boot them all out. We should have booted them out the day that that butcher, that mass murderer, Putin, attacked Ukraine. But the last straw surely came yesterday, when that son of a bitch Russian foreign affairs minister claimed that Hitler had Jewish origins, and thus the Holocaust was all the work of the Jews. Can you imagine this son of a bitch? He's the the senior cabinet minister in that serial killer Putin's cabinet. Unbelievable. And when asked, you know, the fact is that when Putin went in, as you recall, he claimed that he was going to clear out the Nazis, that Nazis had taken over Ukraine. And he knew damned well that the president of Ukraine is a Jew, a practicing Jew. When asked about this, the Russian foreign minister launched into an anti-Jewish tirade, claiming in effect that the Jews themselves were responsible for the Holocaust and Hitler was himself Jewish. Don't forget, as I say, this ambassador, he represents Putin, one of the worst serial killers we have seen since the days of Stalin, Mao Zedong, and of course Hitler. Unbelievable. How we can let people like this stay. Don't forget that all of these Russian council officials and ambassadors, they all claim to support what Putin is doing. They all claim to support the Putin government, which means they must claim that, in fact, Hitler was a Jew and that the Holocaust was all done by the Jews themselves. How can we allow these kinds of people to live in my country, in your country? I mean, come on. We should have booted them out. We should have booted their collective arses out of this country the day that Putin invaded Ukraine. They are not fit to be in this country. Here they are. There's got to be hundreds of them enjoying all the benefits of Canadian life, okay? Out for parties and all the rest of it. And you can be, you know what, I'll tell you one thing drives me crazy, and I've seen this before. I was involved in this kind of life for a little while, the embassy life. You can be damn sure that these Russians, many of these, the staff, the ambassador, they're out at various parties and they're being greeted and hugged and handshaked and all by Canadian citizens. Unbelievable. Don't think this doesn't go on, okay? There's a special little circle of embassy staff and their hangers on and the politicians that hang on around. Unbelievable. Why they're still in my country? So I'm asking you this. Will you join with me? Do what you can to demand that the sad sack government of Justin Trudeau boot these sons of bitches out of this country. We don't want them here. They shouldn't be here. They're unfit to be here. They shouldn't be enjoying anything of the kind of life that Canada and freedom in Canada can provide. Boot them out. And as I say, I will be glad to provide the frozen boot for the job. You know, the fact of the matter is that Trudeau and his bloody bobblehead government, they've never been serious about helping Ukraine. Oh, they paid lip service to it. Shoulder to shoulder, brothers. My ass. They did the least that they could do. Nowhere to be found now when in desperate times in Ukraine. Other countries are coming forward, including the hated United States, etc., etc. Where is Canada? Where is Trudeau? Nowhere to be found. And this is one more example. How can this man, representing you and me as our prime minister, allow these sons of bitches, these representing mass murder? These people represent a serial killer. Putin is a serial mass killer. And I mean a mass killer. These people represent a killing person, a mass killer. And we allow them to stay in this country? Trudeau can boot him out tomorrow. Why won't he? What's he afraid of? Is he afraid of Putin? I mean, do you get it? Can you explain this to me, why these people are still here, folks? John, what sort of response are we getting here?
We're getting a pretty good response here on Facebook, on Twitch, also on YouTube, and on Twitter. The show links and everything you need are at lowellgreen.com or go to blasttheradio.com/lowellgreen. The number to call or text is 613-413-2217. I would like to get to the listener comments. I would like to find out, what do we pay to secure these Russian embassies, etc., as taxpayers in Canada?
Well, that's a very good question. And actually, I have no idea, and we will never find out. The fact of the matter is that we are responsible. Canada is responsible for security.
Exactly.
And we have to pay for it. Not just, and this is what's important, not just at the embassy here in Ottawa, but all of these councils. I mean, they've got councils I went through: St. John's, Windsor, Vancouver, Montreal, etc., etc. We've got to pay security at all of these places. You can be sure that our cost to keep these bastards here is in the millions of dollars. Very, very good question. Thank you for asking the question. Good.
That's what I do.
Yep.
All right, let's get to Anne's question. She's on Facebook watching. Thank you, Anne. She says, yes, the Ruskies should be kicked out. Why does this Trudeau government never do the obvious thing? Too busy being woke and virtual signaling, I guess. Peter is also on Facebook. Kick the spies out. Don't need them here. Bunch of thugs murdering Putin clowns. I agree with you, says Lynn. Eileen is in to say, why the hell hasn't he done this before now? Steve, I believe this is the first time we've heard from you. Welcome to the show. Agree, he says. Boot made. Mike says, I agree with you, Lowell Green. The big boot, adds David. Greg.
Let me just
Yeah.
One of the things that really gets me is, okay, we've got the ambassador, we've got the consul here, we've got consuls in various cities across the country. Why the hell do we have a Russian trade commission here? Okay. I'd have no idea how many people are involved. You can be sure a good number. Once again, we are paying security here. We are probably entertaining these people, various parties and so forth. Do we really want to increase trade with Russia? Oh, really? Well, if in fact we're not interested in increasing trade with Russia, why are we allowing a trade commission here in our city at our expense? I mean, none of this makes any sense. And I ask again the question, what is it that Trudeau and his sad sack government are afraid of? Are they afraid of offending Putin? Is that what it is? I'd be interested to hear from some of you people out there. You know what? I would love to hear from a Liberal or an NDP. Would you, at least on this occasion, join with me, join with other people as a Liberal or NDP or Green Party, for that matter, on the left, and say, listen, these people, if you don't want to use the word boot, if that offends you, should these people be unceremoniously escorted out of the country? Should they leave? Do you want these people as your neighbors? Do you want these people in this country? Do you want to continue paying for them? As a Liberal and NDP, I would give my shirt to hear from just one Liberal, one NDP to comment on that. Thank you.
So on the Trade Commission question, that popped right into my mind. I thought we were sanctioning Russia. We're not trading with them. Why
Precisely.
does that even exist?
Precisely. Same thing with this fisheries agency in Halifax. Halifax, I don't know. Have you ever been to Halifax, John?
Oh, many times. I love Halifax.
Yeah, so do I. Halifax is a great city. Got a
Absolutely.
great cafe atmosphere there, great restaurants along the way.
That waterfront is second to none.
Yeah, you can be sure these sons of bitches are off there enjoying everything that the good life in Halifax can provide. And do we really want to, and you raised the question, do we really want to increase trade with Russia? You're right. I thought we were shutting down trade with Russia. You know what? I've been critical of Germany because they refused to stop buying oil and gas. But you know what? To their credit, Germany, from what I understand, has gone off, has found other sources for oil, perhaps not for gas. And very soon, most of the European Union are going to stop buying Russian oil. It's going to cost them a lot. It's going to harm their economies, but they are prepared to take this step. Meantime, here in Canada, we're not prepared to do bugger all. Go ahead, John.
Let's go to Twitch. Chrissy says, if we could find Trudeau, we would not much in the news today. He is,
Yeah, where is Trudeau?
I don't know.
I'm
glad you're able to decipher what she was saying there, by the way. Thank you. I don't know where he is.
I haven't seen him for some time. We haven't heard from him. I don't know what's going on.
That should be a children's book. Never mind, where's Waldo? Where's Trudeau?
Where's Trudeau?
Where's Trudeau? Let's make that happen.
Let's check the slopes of Whistler.
At the very least, it needs to be a website.
Just check the jet trails, please. Go ahead.
613-413-2217 is the number. This person says, kick the Russians out of Canada. I'll throw in the other frozen boot, says Deb. Here we go. Lowell, I hear you about the Russians, but even though he is disgusting, it's handy to have an ambassador to keep communications open so we can get our message to Putin, even if the message may be strategic lies, etc.
What kind of message? I've heard this argument before, and it puzzles me. Exactly what message would we get to Putin? Stop killing people? Be a nice man? Come here for a hug? What kind of message? What kind of message is it that we would send to Putin? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, first of all, is Putin in any mood to accept any message? Putin has been visited by the heads of several countries who begged him to stop killing people. He just laughed at them. So we should keep an ambassador. Let me ask you this. If Putin won't pay attention to Germany, won't pay attention to the European Union, won't pay attention to Britain, won't pay attention to Spain, do you really think he's going to pay attention to what Canada has to say? Ah, for God's sake. Go ahead, please.
Perhaps my favorite comment of the bunch so far from Laurentian View Terry watching on Twitch. You know that Trudeau is not in Pakenham at Shields. That's for sure.
Okay, you'll find everything else in the way of appliances, but you're not going to find Putin. Thank goodness. And you know what? I'm going to suggest right now to Shields that they not service if any Russian official from any age, council or ambassador, whatever the hell, don't deal with them. I remember years ago, John, I don't know if you remember this or not. I forget what offense the Russians were guilty of at the time, but there was a restaurant over in Hull, a very major restaurant, and he announced that he was not going to serve any Russians. And
Right.
He put up a great big, remember that?
Yep.
He put up a great big sign. We went over, we used to go to that restaurant quite often. Put up a great big sign, no Russians allowed. And he got a lot of publicity about it. So let me suggest to Shields, put up a sign in your window. No Russian diplomats allowed. If there's some Russian people here, okay. But a Russian diplomat, no. You know what? As a matter of fact, could I suggest that Shields, perhaps another business, maybe you could provide one of the boots that we would use. But seriously, folks, you can joke around. They're good people. They'll get the joke. They'll understand. Whether they'll put up a sign, I have no idea. But I'll tell you this, they put up great deals. You know what? Compare the prices. I've said this before. If price is what concerns you, and it should, then check out the prices at Shields. www.shields.ca. SCHEELS.ca. You know what? The website is so easy to use that even I can use it. If I can use it, I guarantee you, your 95-year-old granny can use it. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. If
your 100-year-old granny can use it.
If Lowell can use it, that says everything. All right. We got a pile of comments going. Where do I even begin? Terry says he was at Guy Lafleur's funeral taking selfies. He was apparently at Guy Lafleur's funeral yesterday. Peter says he was on CBC whining about his usual thing today around noon, climate change. Don't be anti-Muslim, etc. He was at Guy Lafleur's funeral yesterday, says Fran. He was at Guy Lafleur's funeral, says Murray. And says yesterday Trudeau was giving away more money in Southern Ontario. Sean.
You know what? Can I just comment on this? This is off the topic, but I am really impressed at Canadians. They lined up for hours to pay tribute to Guy Lafleur. For people to make this kind of sacrifice, many of them take time off work, et cetera, and stand for hours. I find this very admirable. I find it very Canadian. Go ahead, John.
Let's go back to text 613-413-2217. That we know what is happening. Like I said, we are a second voice for the Americans. Deb is back with a follow-up. She says, where's Trudeau? Maybe he joined Putin. Ooh, I don't know about that. Let me see. Sean, I was going to get to your message here. Sean says, Trudeau's in Montreal at Lafleur's funeral. I think we've established that. Nick says they're afraid that if they close the embassies here, that they will close the Canadian embassy in Russia.
Well,
comment on that?
Is our embassy still open in Russia? And if
believe
so,
it is.
why? Once again, I'm going to tell you, as I say, for a number of years in my early days in this city, I was sort of involved in this. You get invited to one embassy party, and you get invited to them all. And it's a special little world out there. It's an elite world. There's no question about it. You got to learn how to eat these little wieners, with their finger up like this, and how to drink cocktails properly with you got to, and dress properly and so forth. And everybody hugs everybody. It's a very special world. And a lot of these diplomats are there. But you know what? To think that we've got Russians representing a mass killer out there enjoying this kind of thing, enjoying cocktails, etc., with many of Ottawa's decision makers. And I suspect, this is what I fear, that the reason we haven't booted them out is that they're very good friends with a good many members of the Liberal government. Go ahead, John.
Okay, but have the Americans removed the Russian embassy or other Russian associations in their country?
That's a very
Britain,
good
etc.?
question.
I
Very
have
good
not heard
question.
any word of that.
But I think that the United States is a different situation. Let's face it, this is the lead country. This is the one country that can stand up. And it probably is important for the United States to keep some form of communication available to Russia because the United States matters. Let's face it, Canada doesn't matter. Let's go ahead.
But you can bet when America does, if and when America does, we'll follow. We're not leaders. The embassies were built around the world for this very reason, says Murray. Let's go to Carl. I used to go to a German barber when I was young, and if you owned a Lada, he would not cut your hair.
I want to tell you a little story about this. Is a true story. I won't give names, but this was back when I was at another radio station, and we had a salesperson who owned a Lada. This is back in the days when there were Ladas around.
Wow,
Okay?
raking in the money, was he?
Excuse me. One day, I'm at Reed Brothers Motor Sales up in Arnprior.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there talking with the owner, and in comes this salesperson, and he starts how he wants to make a sale. And in the midst of it all, a guy comes charging and he says, "Who's got the effing Lada out in the yard?" And this guy holds up his hand. He says, "Oh, it's mine." And the owner says, "Get the fuck out of here and don't ever come back." He phoned the station manager and said, "Don't let that guy ever cross my doorstep again." It's a true story. Okay, go ahead.
That's fantastic. Yeah, where's Harold Ballard when we need him, right?
You know what? I once saw it. I was once following a Lada on the Queensway, and he had a bumper sticker, and the bumper sticker said, My other car is a piece of shit too."
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Post your comments on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, wherever you would ordinarily post a comment on social media, and we'll try and pop them up on the screen. By the way, anything I don't get a chance to read to Lowell, I do send him in a daily summary. Greg says, agree, 100% Lowell, kick them out. Chrissy's on Twitch. Yep, boot them out. Agree, should have been gone a long time ago. Putin is an international terrorist, period, says Peter. We have enough kicking out to do without worrying about other countries, says Murray. Rick, watching on Facebook.
Murray, excuse me. Could you send me something to explain your comments? We have read that again, please.
Well, I think what he's saying is kicking out of our current government. We have enough kicking out to do without worrying about other countries.
I see. Well, this is our country. These people are in our country. We're paying for it. We're paying. I tell you that the security that we have to pay for all of these consulates and so forth and embassies, this is costing us millions of dollars. Do we really want to pay that? Do we want these people here? I mean, what? These people represent a mass murderer. Putin is a mass murderer. He has ordered the murder of thousands of people, men, women, and children. He has ordered the rape of women. He certainly is allowing it. He has ordered the destruction of large numbers of buildings housing civilians. He's done this on purpose. He has allowed his soldiers to shoot little old men coming back from the grocery store. Putin is a mass serial killer. And these people in Russia, the Russian diplomats and their staff, represent a mass killer. Simple as that, folks. If you want to dispute that, go ahead, give it a try. Go ahead, John.
So, yes, exactly. Murray is saying we've got to boot our own government out. He says our governments are costing us billions. $1 bus ride. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, we'll deal with that in another 3 years' time.
There you go. To Twitch, Chrissy says $1 bus ride was the news yesterday. Ontario, get ready for chaos. Hey, Lowell Green, I'm out of town and missed you on CFRA's anniversary this morning. How did it go, sir? Asks Gary.
I was wonderful. Go ahead. Glad you asked.
I bet you were. I didn't even think to tune in. All of a sudden, my phone's going crazy. The number of people hitting the website. I mean, what's going on? They're like, "Oh, Lowell's blowing smoke up your ass." I'm like, "Oh, great, fantastic." Let's go to email. Lowell at blasttheradio.com from Paul in Canada. Hi, Lowell. It seems that Trudeau and company are only capable of virtue signaling to try to shame Putin. For example, walking out of the G20 meeting. There's nothing wrong with that, but it really does not accomplish anything. It seems that Trudeau has no real values to stand up for, and there seems to be no ability to take any concrete negative action towards China or Russia. Not able to show up in Parliament to vote on genocide in the Haiger region of China. No ban on Huawei. Hiding the details around the two researchers who were fired from our high-security Winnipeg biology lab and stacking the panel examining the details with the Liberal/NDP members. Very poor or no leadership from the PMO.
By the way, talking about the NDP, Trudeau has been critical. To give him credit, he has been critical of Putin. I haven't heard Singh. Has Jagmeet made any comment about Putin? I haven't heard that. He may have.
Nor have I. Nope, not aware.
But he seems to me that this guy who's got comments on virtually everything, he's now recommending that we lower the voting age, by the way. He seems pretty silent on Putin. What is it? What are they afraid of? Is it, I just throw the question out there. What is it they're afraid of? Go ahead, John, please.
Back to text. Again, the number here, and you can call, by the way. I know it's 2022 and people don't do that, but it still works. 613-413-2217. And thanks for sharing this on your social media, by the way.
Yeah, yesterday, by the way, John, I want to thank you all because almost 40 of you shared. We have, the last time I checked, over 1,500 views to this yesterday's show on Facebook alone, plus hundreds more elsewhere. So the show is building, and the way it's building is when you share. Just push that little share button, and the news gets out to people who aren't aware that I am here. Go ahead, John.
Yes, and thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great.
And do check out some of the other shows we have here on blasttheradio.com. There you go, shameless plug. Yes, we should remove most of the Russian staff, but keep a diplomat to communicate back to Putin, if not for us, but as a backdoor for the USA, says this
The
person.
USA doesn't need any backdoors. There was a time when this country mattered on the international scene. We don't anymore, and even the left wing seems to admit this, that we have dwindled down to insignificance on the international scene. Go ahead, John.
To YouTube, our first comment of the day from YouTube. There have been others, but this is the first one I've had a chance to read. Kelly says, yes, Trudeau is a hypocrite. His recommendation on freedom of speech are in alignment to those like Putin and other dictators.
Talking about freedom of speech, excuse me, I am puzzled. There seems to be some confusion about Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter.
Elon Musk.
Is that what I can't keep this American, as I say, my mind just shuts off.
South Africa.
Okay, Musk. We got Musk. I got that right?
Okay.
So he's bought Twitter, but he's done so saying that he wants to support absolute total freedom of speech. And yet the left is in panic. What is it? Why is the left opposed to total freedom of speech? Not only that, but people seem to be confusing. Say, "Oh, now he's going to be, people are going to be shut down." No, he says he's going to open it up. Why? He's even going to let Trump on. Maybe that's what upset people. Okay, Trump back on Twitter. Oh, go ahead, John.
It's not a matter of what they're afraid of, says Bonnie. It's what they are up to. There you go. Somebody had a comment about Jagmeet Singh. Who was that? That was Cheryl. Jagmeet Singh is too busy trying to lower our voting age to 16. He says the reason why is due to climate change. What? Really?
This guy. How anybody ever voted for this guy? Sometimes, I mean, he's a very handsome man. Women find him very attractive, most of them. But I mean, as far as I can see, he's got about the intelligence of a squirrel. Go ahead.
Terry says, my niece went to Queen's University with him. That's why he's so smart. All right, Murray, another 3 years and you'll have the same no matter what party of the three get in. Welcome to globalization. Rick says...
Wait, hold it. You really think that Pierre Poilievre is going to run the same kind of government that we have now? No, he is not. Go ahead, John.
I find it bizarre liberals hate Elon Musk buying Twitter when the liberal bill is about to censor the Canadian internet. Do they take pills to attain this kind of double standard? Asks Sam.
That's a very good. Thank you very much. That's very good, right? They're upset at Musk, who says he's going to open it up, total freedom of speech, while we here are trying to shut down freedom of speech. Go ahead, John.
Oh, yes, the left fear freedom of speech. Musk said he will allow any new tweet that is within the law. The left want to make everything against the law. That's a text at 613-413-2217.
Very astute.
We've got about a half dozen to get to here, Lowell, and I know time is marching on. Rick says it's a tough choice between booting out the Russians or Trudeau's liberals. Heather says, if we're not allowed to be in Russia, why should they be allowed to be here? I'm sorry, it is a two-way street as well. Take Trudeau with you. I will help you with the big boot, and sure, there are a few more that would help boot Trudeau out as well.
Yeah, I need a little bit of space on our freezer. Our freezer is jammed, and I don't know if I could get a boot in there to freeze. So if anybody has any spare freezer space that we could put a boot, then please let me know. Okay, frozen boots. Thank you all, folks. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing. It's the one way we have of sort of spreading the message. We don't have money here. We don't ask for money. We just ask that you push that little share button. Thank you all. Back tomorrow.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.